Right now, we are at fair value of Bitcoin. And I would say, we have an even chance of going to, say, 125,000 Bitcoin in a year versus going back down to 30,000. Now, that would be without the trendline growth. So the trendline growth puts you at around 100,000 by the end of this year. So I would say if I had to put a confidence interval, I would say 50,000 to 200,000, with 100,000 being the mean, kind of for the end of the year. Now, that's kind of that really should give you a lot of confidence that we're in a pretty good spot to invest in Bitcoin. The promise of the ETF started kicking in when we were at Bitcoin 25,000 almost, And so I think we're in that bull market. The market has quadrupled since the low of the last market, right? We've quadrupled off of 15,000. And so, where can we go from the low to the new high? Well, I'd say we could probably go 20x,
Fred Krueger provides an important insight. Bitcoin's price is not random. In logarithmic terms, the volatility can be quantified, showing that the price has an equal chance of either doubling or halving in any given year. This may seem extreme, but it's part of the market's behavior. He explains that Bitcoin currently sits near what he considers fair value, meaning the price reflects its intrinsic market position, with a balanced risk of a significant move either up or down. Krueger projects that by the end of the current year, Bitcoin could land at around $100,000. However, due to volatility, there's a 50-50 chance it could rise as high as $200,000 or drop to as low as $50,000. Despite this wide range, his long-term outlook remains highly optimistic, particularly as the institutional landscape shifts in Bitcoin's favor.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
The first reason why I have conviction is I believe in this power law. I do think that this is sort of statistically how Bitcoin price is evolving. And furthermore, we can even talk about why this is happening. And the why of this is that Bitcoin adoption is also growing like a power law, right? It's growing like a power law. And so the important thing about a power law is the power, right? So at what power is this growing? And roughly it's growing at t to the power 6, okay? So as time goes by, it's not going at the square of time. It's not growing at the cube of time. It's growing to the 6th power of time, right? That's roughly how fast Bitcoin is growing. So you have this crazy, almost exponential growth, right? Not quite exponential, but it's almost exponential. And so a good way to think of it right now is Bitcoin's growing at about 40% per year. Mm-hmm. That's sort of the trend line Bitcoin. Now, around this, there's tremendous volatility, right? And if you look at it in sort of normal space, it almost makes no sense. It's sort of like, okay, it went up a lot in 2017, it crashed. It went up a lot in 2020, it crashed. Okay, now it's back. Okay, what do you make of this? It just seems like a, complete just sort of random event, right? Mm-hmm. But if you look at it in log terms, you see, no, there's a very clear pattern, right? A very clear pattern. And furthermore, you can even estimate the volatility around this pattern, right? So basically, the volatility is around 0.3 in logarithmic terms. What that means is that you can go up by 10 to the power 0.3, which is a double, or you can go down by 10 to the power negative 0.3, which brings you down to about half. So sort of in any year, you have a equal chance of doubling versus halving. along if you're at trend line, right, which is kind of where we are right now. So I would sort of say right now we are at fair value of Bitcoin, roughly. And I would say, we have an even chance of going to say 125,000 Bitcoin in a year versus going back down to 30,000. Now that would be without the trend line growth. So the trend line growth puts you at around 100,000 by the end of this year. So I would say if I had to put a confidence interval, I would say 50,000 to 200,000, with 100,000 being the mean, kind of for the end of the year. Now, that's kind of that really should give you a lot of confidence that we're in a pretty good spot to invest in Bitcoin. But on top of that, we now have this ETF, right? And the ETF is probably a reason why we're going to exceed this on the upside, right? So, we're in this ETF and we're in the fourth bull market of Bitcoin. Okay, so everybody's focused on these halvings. I don't think that's the correct way to look at things. I think the correct way is looking at it in terms of bull markets. And the bull markets we had, roughly speaking, we had the first bull market was from the beginning to Mt. Gox collapse, right? November of 2013. That was the first bull market. I had money in Mt. Gox. I remember it well. Okay. Okay. That was the first bull market. The second bull market was really from late 2015 all the way out till December of 2017, right? That was the second big bull market. That was really fueled by Ethereum. Right. That was the catalyst of that market. It wasn't even a Bitcoin bull market. It was really an Ethereum driven bull market. And the third bull market was from January of 2019 or late, maybe December 2018 till end of 2021. Right. That's the way I would time that bull market. And if I had to say what it was caused by, I would say it was caused by search for yield. It was yield and DeFi, and people looking for yield with Celsius and FTX and Luna and all the rest, right? Again, not really Bitcoin, right? So people were, yes, you had Michael Saylor pushing Bitcoin back then, but really the narrative, everything was all about stable coins and to some extent about even Solana and other kind of things. So now we have this fourth bull market. And the fourth bull market, I would say it's really driven by ETFs more than anything else, right? And I think, the promise of the ETF started kicking in when we were at Bitcoin 25,000 almost, And so I think we're in that bull market. The market has quadrupled since the low of the last market, right? We've quadrupled off of 15,000. And so, where can we go from the low to the new high? Well, I'd say we could probably go 20x,
Krueger takes a moment to address the stock-to-flow model, a popular but controversial method used to predict Bitcoin's future price based on its scarcity. Krueger critiques this model, explaining that its math is flawed and it does not accurately account for Bitcoin's price movements over time. Instead, he advocates for the power law model, which he sees as more robust and reflective of Bitcoin's true market dynamics.
That's normally where you go. Like if you go back from in the last bull market, right? We bottomed out at Bitcoin 3,500, right? So we started 2019 at around 4,000, okay, and we ended up at 69,000, right? Mm-hmm. So, from 3,000 to 69,000, let's just call it 20x, right? Mm-hmm. So, it seems like a lot, but actually that's what we did, and we did even more in the 2017 market. So
I remember 2017 was like from 1K roughly 1.2K to 20.
Right, but really it started earlier, right? So I think it really started more in like 2015 timeframe, right? So it was more like, if you remember, Bitcoin was around 500 then, right?
Mhm.
So it really went from 500 to almost 20K, right?
Mm.
So let's just call it 30x. So I think a good way to think of these things, these bull markets, is historically they've lasted 3 or 4 years. Okay, the first one was, let's call it 3 years, from 2010 till end of 2013. 4 years, really, almost, right?
Mm.
It was just an enormous bull market, right? It was the biggest of all. But I think, going up 20x from the low in this market is conceivable, right? It's probably a reasonable thing. And we're up already 4x. So let's just say 5x left to go in this phase. That might be more. There's no solid rules. But, I think that, for us to go, 250, 300K in this kind of bull market is entirely possible. And it may be bigger, right? It may just continue all the way up to 1 million. Who knows, right?
Mm.
I do think we're in this bull market. The big picture is we're in a bull market. We're in a bull market. We have this catalyst, which is this ETF, which is so much bigger than the Ethereum catalyst of 2017, so much bigger than this DeFi catalyst of 2020. This is the real deal, right? This is like traditional finance finally gets an opportunity to buy into Bitcoin. The concept that everybody kind of got wrong, which is something that got popular in about 2019, 2020, which was the stock to flow model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you really look at the stock to flow model, and I could go on for a long time but it's basically incorrect, okay? And there's a lot of problems with the math and the stock to flow model. However, there is a model which is actually pretty much bulletproof, which is this power law model. And the power law model says very simply, let's plot the price of Bitcoin in log terms, okay? And let's look at it also relative to the time since the Genesis block in the log terms. It's important to have both of those axes be in log terms.
Fred Krueger's analysis offers a compelling case for Bitcoin's long-term potential, grounded in mathematical models and historical data. His explanation of the power law model provides a framework for understanding Bitcoin's growth and volatility, while his insights into the 4 distinct bull markets give context to the cyclical nature of Bitcoin's price. With the Bitcoin ETF now serving as a catalyst, Krueger envisions a future where Bitcoin could see tremendous growth, potentially reaching up to $300,000 or even higher. For investors and enthusiasts alike, this video serves as a comprehensive guide to navigating the complex world of Bitcoin with a strong emphasis on long-term conviction.
Please like and subscribe my channel.